Hello, I'm Jenny Hawkins from the UK and this is Stacey Thomas.
Hi.
We're here at Viva Decor and we're going to tell you all about a new concrete paste.
So what we have today, we're going to show you how to get this effect. We've also got the rusty at the top. I'll turn it around so you can see. So it's the rusty Effekt paste with the concrete effect on the actual product itself.
Which is a clipboard.
Yes.
So the concrete Effekt paste is a weather resistant paste and it's water absorbent and you can apply it on multiple surfaces.
So when you first open your tub of concrete Effekt paste, there will be a seal on it, so you'll need to take the seal off and you'll need to stir it well to make sure that all the product is actually stirred correctly so you get the best use out of your product. So I'll just show you, just opening that now. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to stir that. So I'm just going to show you how to apply the product onto the plain clipboard that we have. But it's not just clipboards that you can use it for, is it, Jenny?
No, there's lots of surfaces. We've got some behind us. We've used the concrete paste here on some glass. So there's a nice thin layer. And as you can see, it modernises bottles. And we've got one here with a wine bottle as well, which you may like. If I just angle that, hopefully you'll be able to see it. And you can see from this that we've stenciled the bottle as well, using the paste.
Okay, so the application is going to begin with using a palette knife, just a normal palette knife there. So I'm just going to start by pasting it on, basically. Thinner layers are better because if you go too thick, it's going to take too long to dry as well. So you just start off with a thin layer and then you can make your second layer a little bit thicker. So if you do have any gaps or anything, it's not an issue. So you're just building it up and creating texture.
So you can probably hear there's a little bit of a grit sound to it, which is, adds to the concrete effect. So Stacey's just, as she said, applying a thin coat, and we're going to wait for that to dry after the clipboard's been coated, and then we're going to add a second layer.
What we're going to do is use a heat gun to speed up the drying process. So once I've got this first layer on a little bit, I'll show you how we dry it, and then as it's drying, we're going to speed the video up slightly so that you don't have to sit there watching concrete Effekt paste dry. So
what's really good about this product is that it's weather resistant, and as I said earlier, it's water based too. So, and it goes on multiple surfaces. I don't know if you realise, but Stacey didn't prime this clipboard prior to applying the paste.
No, it's straight on. Straight
onto the wood.
Yeah. So, just to give you an idea, I'm going to now use the heat gun. Oops, we've got that.
Turn that round for you.
Thank you.
It's a little bit out of focus.
There we go. If we just go forward just a little bit.
That's better.
There you go. So you can see I've created texture and bumps and raises. So what I'm going to do now is just dry that off quickly with the heat gun, and I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so now I've finished and I've let it dry, and this is with 2 layers. So you can see it's gone solid now. There's no wetness there at all. So what we need to do now is just sand it down just a little bit, just to...
Yeah, it's a little bit rough, isn't it? So shall I let you do that?
Thank you.
And whilst Stacey's standing, I'll tell you that there are other applications as well. I'll let her finish first.
Okay, so I've gone for a more raised effect. So what I've done is left it a little bit more raised, just for the harsher look. You can make it a little bit softer if you'd like.
A bit smoother.
Yeah, we can, sorry Jenny, we can just show you here. This is a smoother version of it with a little bit more sanding. So there you go. So you can, there's plenty of effects that you can have with this paste. So then what we need to do is create dimension.
So while Stacey's getting the stencil ready, I'll just tell you a few more methods of application. So you can stencil with the paste, you can apply it with the palette, you can dabber or dauber as it's sometimes called, and you can also apply with a paintbrush.
So the next step before we stencil is to add the looks like glaze. So this is the dark, and you'll also need to use the light too, just to give multi-dimensional looks to it. So you literally just start.
You've got a brush.
By spritzing it on. You don't even have to be very careful, to be fair.
Are you going to sponge it?
Yeah, I'm going to sponge. Do you want to brush this side of it just to show how you can do it? So you can see it is getting darker already, and it's going into all those little nooks and crannies. So if I just show you. So it looks a little bit messy at the moment, but once you've blended it, it blends really easily.
And I think this is now beginning to really look like concrete.
Just get it around to the edges. Okay, so because obviously concrete isn't just the one colour, we need to add a little bit more dimension with the white. So do the same with this one.
So the white actually removes a bit of the dark glaze. So if you over apply the dark glaze, you can use the white, and you can also use it to create more texture.
What I tend to do with the dark is I dab harder to get it into the depths, and with the white I go a little bit softer just to take it over the top layers.
I think it makes it look like a mixed concrete.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So there you can see we've got the darker points just here, and then we've got the lighter points of the more raised surfaces here and here. Okay, so the next part is the stencil. So once you've left that to dry, you can then go on to create your stencil.
Okay, you have to use this.
So what we might need to do is just use the heat gun for a couple of seconds just to dry it off. So now I've dried off my product, it's completely dry. So what we need to do now is place a stencil on in order to get it to look like this. So firstly, we start with our stencil and we line it up to exactly where you'd like it.
And the good thing is we're able to pin it under the clip on the clipboard to keep it in place. I'll just slightly pin it under for you.
If you can.
Maybe can't.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, so we use our concrete paste again, our concrete effect paste. And we just use the palette knife yet again, and we use long strokes. So longer strokes are better than smaller strokes, and you just pull down. You get a blob onto your palette knife and you pull down in one long stroke. So you can see this part here is where I've put it in already. So you just do that over the whole stencil.
Because the concrete effect is so creamy and it has texture, the stencil doesn't tend to move so much. So it's quite good to stencil with the concrete effect paste.
It holds it really well. Okay, so I'm nearly done.
Looking good.
Thank you. One more corner, and then I can take my stencil off and show you all how it looks. Okay. There we are. Okay, so this is with the stencil on.
Shall I hold the clipboard? And
Thank you. I'm just going to take the stencil off.
Oh wow.
And there you go, there's your effect.
You can see it's fantastic to stencil with.
So once that's dry, what we can normally do is sand it down slightly, because this will still be very raised and there could be a few sharp edges. I mean, you can leave it as you like, or you can sand it down to a smoother finish and it will still be more raised than the remainder of the clipboard or whichever surface you're using. So we'd dry this, we'd sand it down, and then to get this effect, sorry Jen, thank you. To get this effect, we'd place the stencil back over again, and we would use, was it Rusty that we used for this?
Yes. So this is, there's two products here. rusty for paper and more.
Yeah.
And
we've also got the patinas as well, which are this colour.
The patinas have got a metallic shimmer, which give it the rusty effect finish at the end.
So these go on after your first couple of these colours. You've got the orangey and the darker brown.
And just before we finish on the concrete paste, I just wanted to show you one more thing. This is a card that's been done with concrete paste, and what I really love about this is how it shows, you can see how flexible it is. So this bends, this is how flexible.
So for how solid it looks, it is really, really flexible. Yeah. It's a really good product to work with.
And it's really versatile. So for paper crafters, for handicrafts, for home decor, there's so many projects that you can do with this wonderful concrete effect paste.
Yeah, it goes onto a lot of surfaces really easily, which makes it a very versatile product.
It does.
So I think now Jenny's going to take over and show you how to make the rusty effect on the top of the clipboard here, on your metal. So, Jenny, I shall pass you the one that I worked with earlier, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so would you like to swap? Maybe easier.
Actually, I think we'll use, what I'll do is use this one because it'll be
that'll be more dry.
Yeah. So do you want
me to stir these? I think I'm going to have to stir them for you.
Right, steampunk is very fashionable and has always been fashionable. So these products are great for steampunk projects or for aging your crafts projects. And there's a few steps to the process. Stacey's just preparing the product for us now. So make sure that you're working on a clean, dry surface. And it's a matter of applying 2 colours. And there are two different shades of brown. So you can see we've given that a good mix.
I'm just mixing this one now. It's best to use them both together at the same time, isn't it? So don't coat your metal with just one and then use the other one afterwards. Use them both at the same time. It creates a much more dimensional effect. So
while Stacey's mixing that, I'm going to apply some of the Rusty Effekt product. It's another paste, and I'm just going to apply it with a palette knife to begin with, and then I shall take over with a brush. So it's a bit more liquid than the concrete effect. I'm going to be naughty and dip in both colours.
You can see already it's creating that dimensional effect.
So that's with the palette knife. I'm just going to finish this off now with a knife, with a brush. So if I can borrow the brush.
Yeah.
So I want texture because rust is never even. And you can see the 2 colours blending quite nicely together.
So you can see that texture already. It's really becoming texturised, and that will stay once it's dry as well. Because it is a paste, it does tend to hold itself where you put it, doesn't it?
Yep, and I think we need a couple of coats, but there you go. Can you see that? I've gone over the edge a little bit there. And then, can you see that with the big camera? There we go. You can't see. It's all
there you go. There you go. So I'm just showing that now. So Jenny's made the texture with the pastes. And as I say, once that is dry, that will stay. And you can put more layers on, and you can layer it up. But you can really see the lift in there. There we are.
Cool. So
once that's dry, we'd then put the patina on.
Yep, so we'll move that one out of the way.
Yeah, I'll scrub one. So here's one that was prepared earlier. And you can see that really looks rusty. It's dry now, so it's not so shiny looking. It has gone a real rusty effect.
Okay, so now we've mixed the patinas. Hopefully you can see how shimmery they are. Okay, and there's 2 colours. And you can see there they've got a metallic finish to them. So what we're going to do now is apply these to the metal clipboard, and I shall be using a palette knife to do this. And what this does is it really does age the piece that you've just added the rust effect to. So a little bit with the palette knife, and then I'm going to blend it in with a brush.
You can also use a sponge for the application for this. It just gives a slightly different effect, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So just experiment and carry on trying and, you know, trying different ways of applying products. Find your way of doing it, and it, you know, it just creates different effects each time, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it really does age the piece.
So we also have used this on polystyrene. So here is your rusty effect on polystyrene. You can really see the glimmer on that. And then we also have it on a tin can as well. That was prepped with chalky.
Chalky paint.
So you can really see it looks like real rust. Aged and, you know.
So this is great for your steampunk projects.
So this is how this can started out, just as a normal can, and then we've prepped with the white chalky and all of the rusty products that we've shown today. So thank you very much for joining us, and from me and Jenny, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.